Sunny with a high temperature of 29. Wednesday, mainly cloudy with a high temperature of 29. New Year's Day, Thursday, sunny, high of 18. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 45.
Straight Talk knows the best holiday gift is simply saying yes.
Yes, you can stay up late. Sure, more cookies. Of course we can watch that movie again.
That's why we give you real unlimited data, so you can say yes to all of your family's streaming, scrolling, and sharing. And now at Straight Talk, get another gift worth giving, a free 5G phone with select plans. Because yes is the best gift to give.
Yes!
And receive. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody. Happy day after Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy Friday to everybody. Or happy wherever you are, because you might be listening to this as a podcast, which you can do anywhere in the world. And you can also tune into our show anywhere in the world. I know our signal gets a little bit weak when the sun goes down, but you can find us on your TuneIn apps. You can watch our live stream on Facebook. You can go to heartlandsignal.com and catch our full shows. And we appreciate that. And especially when we have our friends like Dan Schaefer joining the conversation, you want to stay up to date on everything we're talking about. Hi, I love your hat, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I
didn't feel like doing my hair today. So.
I did my bangs today.
Your hair is always perfect.
Oh, well, that's why I wear a hat a lot, though, because then I can save my energy for the days that I have to style it.
That's fair.
So that
and that's planning.
It's just bangs and braids.
Mm-hmm. How was your Christmas?
It was lovely. It was very quiet. Elliot Serrano came over. We stopped by and said hi to Lady B during the show yesterday. Hi, Lady B. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hi. Can we hear you? Let me see. Let's see. Let's get you on there. No, I can't. Let's see. What do I need to? I know it says T Program B. I don't see anything. Oh, Lady.
You know what? It was me.
Oh. Hey.
Sorry.
Hi, it's all right. Merry Christmas, Lady B.
Hi, everyone.
I bought some treats yesterday for Lady B.
Okay.
Not some food, but because we hadn't finished cooking dinner at that point yet.
Yes.
But you went home for dinner, right?
You said my son cooked, and it was great.
Oh, lovely. I'm so glad.
Seeing you and Lady B just makes my heart happy. So that's a Christmas gift. That's
right back at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love seeing you here.
Thank you.
I was tempted to have me and Elliot jump in the studio and just say Merry Christmas live during our pre-recorded or the earlier shows, but then it's just like, if we didn't tell anybody we were going to do that, it's just, not that many people need it. They didn't know we needed it. So you had a nice Christmas. What kind of food did your son whip up?
We made lechon, the pig
pork,
pie, and he made the capuria, papa relleno.
Nice.
That's the stuffed potato that looks like and then the capuria is the banana with the meat inside.
What?
And of course our traditional rice and gandules. So it's great.
Excellent.
That sounds amazing.
Cheese made the cheesecake.
Oh, fantastic.
So
and Dan, it seems, was doing a lot of cooking in his house as well. You had how many people over?
Well, we were supposed to have like 15, 16. It ended up being 9.
Okay, but still.
Some people woke up, they were sick. They didn't want to come out.
A lot of folks were not feeling great yesterday.
And I appreciate the fact that but what we did do, my neighbor, Angie, reminded me that there's a love fridge that's right down the street, like Montrose and Central-ish. And we packed up like 6 or 7 plates, and she picked them up this morning, and she put them in the fridge. And so people can go, and there was so much food.
Yeah.
But you know what? If people can go and get it, and it was actually, yeah.
And I know that there's like different groups that do like those love fridges. There's also like a group that does like lasagna. Like they have almost like a lasagna. If someone is in need, you send them a name. Hey, this family could really use some help, and then they have a community of folks who are like, I'll whip up a lasagna. Or
the love fridge is interesting to me because normally we try to donate food, like when we do the carnival stuff. We have a lot of leftover product. But it's weird when you donate because they want like non-perishables or, but the love fridge is literally, we literally set up plates of ham mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and we just cling wrapped everything and we stacked them and whatever, and they just go in the fridge and people can come and get them. And that's really cool. I didn't realize that was a thing. But otherwise, that food would have gone in the garbage. And
that's lovely.
Yeah.
We were very kind of low key on presents this year. We didn't do anything too extravagant. I just feel like for over 20 years since the boys were little, like we would just keep buying, like thinking we need to give them all this stuff.
Right.
And so it was kind of nice. Everyone got what they needed a little bit. It's supposed to be a sign of affection, and that I think we get wrapped up too in like we have to understand somebody and know exactly what they want and things like that, and really kind of just gathering, watching movies, listening to music, eating good food, sharing stories, providing support through everything that everyone's got. How emotionally, how are folks that you were having conversations with yesterday?
Honestly, I say that like the holidays since Trump or since COVID, we don't do the obligatory family gatherings. We have the
selective
preferred.
I like preferred better than selective.
We call the found family or the preferred family, right? Okay. So everybody around our table, and I said this last night, politics came up, right? But I was like, everybody around this table wants to be around this table, and everybody around this table likes each other, and so we can talk about things. That's my ideal holiday, right? And because you listen to me whenever I host your show. I love it when people disagree with me. I really do. But the past few holidays, everybody around my table at my house, we're all on the same page. And that makes it for a very, very nice holiday.
Yeah, that's gotta be nice to not be and I get the feeling like it had in some families. I'll bet there was like mocking and like dismissiveness from people, maybe from both.
Yeah,
I'm not saying we're perfect. Yeah, obviously,
nobody's perfect. No. Number one,
exactly.
But the holidays. From now on are going to be people who want to be at the table are at my table type thing, which you are welcome at, by the way.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. And hi to Jim, by the way.
Yeah.
Is he traveling or is he home?
He's in Tokyo.
Was he in Tokyo for Christmas?
Yeah, he's there now.
Hi, Jim.
I just called him before.
What time is it in Tokyo?
That's 8:30
in the morning.
It's 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Tomorrow. I never know.
I just got a phone with him before I walked.
Hi, Jim. That's so funny.
He said he was going to tune in.
Excellent. Yeah. When you say you like when people disagree with you, what is that? It's not that, because disagreeing on the truth is one thing, but disagreeing with a different set of facts, I struggle with that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to get to a place of not being resentful. This is not just for it's not even a New Year's resolution. I'm taking a look at the way I approach things, and it's usually from a place of a righteousness. Ooh, that's where I come from, a place of righteousness, and I'm trying to soften that. Righteousness and resentment.
Explain that.
Well, being so certain of being right, of being correct, of I can, swing this bat because I feel powerful in believing that I know what's absolutely true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel, and look, I often talk about how being a progressive means getting new information and acting on that. But I don't think I do that when it comes to the way people think. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if they think a certain way, I'm like, well, I can't deal with that. I write people off, and so I'm trying to find softness, and grace.
Yeah. So I always say, if I'm the smartest person in the room, we're all screwed. Number one, that's hands down, because I like to surround myself with people that are smarter than me.
Okay.
I can talk about the economy. I can talk about this, but there are other things that I'm not an expert on. So. But what I do say is, if you disagree with me politically, that's okay. Mm-hmm. We can talk about tax regulations. We can talk about foreign relations. We can talk about domestic relations. But when I get to the point where I question your humanity or morality, then we're kind of done.
Right.
At that point, then I'm done.
Right. And I believe I jump to the conclusion of someone's humanity quicker than I should.
See, I've learned a lot from speaking with people who disagree with me. Mm-hmm. Really. Now, are we on the same page?
Right.
No.
Right.
But I've learned some things. You know me, I watch Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, because I want to see what other people are talking about.
Right.
There are some commonalities, but then when you're applauding kids drowning under barbed wires, barrels in the Rio Grande.
This is what I'm saying.
That's when I say, when I question your morality or humanity, then we are done.
Yeah.
I will never talk to you again.
Well, and I think that's where I come from with broad, sweeping generalizations, right? As opposed to narrow generalizations. But the broad sweeping generalization that if you voted for Trump, I have a hard time separating the fact that you voted against the rights of people of color, of women's autonomy, of the LGBTQ plus community. And so I think that's where my righteousness comes from, I guess my mama bear. But I can't attack all the time.
You protect your boys.
I'm just,
and you also protect your community.
Right.
You've got the mama bear. Yeah.
But and that comes to my point though, is that I take everything as an attack and then attack back rather than waiting to see what develops or letting it be. I think that's the part, is that I need to let more calling in when you've got a listener I'm operating from an impulse point rather than going, oh, let's hear this. I just can't. It's hard for me to listen to lies get amplified.
It's also interesting, when you see ICE going into cities, it's hard to just quote unquote let it be.
Exactly.
At some point, you need to not let it be, right? We're not taking to the streets, but we need to hold people accountable. But then the question of accountability is, where is the accountability?
Yeah. And
Who is holding anybody accountable?
So that's where I think, for me, yes, we should have accountability, but I can't let it devolve into resentment. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I'm working through it. All right. It's a lifetime. I mean, I'm not just saying this spontaneously happened with Republicans. I mean, for me, I think it's a lifetime of, operating from a place of, well, that's disrespectful. You're not kind, and dig in, shutting down, it has to be. And I remember it all the way from when I was little.
Yeah.
Right. Of locking people out, or just, and so then your tunnel vision. So I'm trying to open the tunnel and just sort of be.
It's also kind of
do Zen.
Don't cause attention or don't bring attention type thing, which is the complete opposite of what should be happening.
Right.
We need to bring attention to what's happening.
Right.
But everyone's like, no, just keep your mouth shut.
Right.
No, not
exactly,
a thing. Yeah.
Exactly. We are hanging out with Dan Schaefer, the host of Politini and Tuesdays with Josie, available wherever you listen to podcasts. He'll be here guest co-hosting with me the whole show. Coming up at 5:30, we're going to talk to Brandon Comer, who's joining us in studio, managing partner at the private equity firm Alterity. Alterity. Sometimes I think I'll practice a word. Alterity Capital, and co-founder of the National Black Bank Foundation. We're going to talk about several things, including the Bears relocating, national donors, Illinois politics, and Mayor Brandon Johnson. So if you want to learn more about the work that they do, you can go to alterity.capital. That's ALTERITY. Oh my goodness! Did I just spontaneously develop a problem?
When you sent me that, I've tried to read it twice, and I was
ALTERITY.capital. I know he's listening right now, so my apologies of tripping over my own tongue. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. We'll be right back. Thank you for listening, everybody. We're happy to have you here. We can open up the phone lines for a segment because I want to make sure we talk to our listeners. 773-763-9278.
It's the Democracy, Stupid, with Edwin Eisendrath.
Americans in the founding generation didn't fail to build a palace. They chose not to build a palace. George Washington designed the Oval Office, well, its predecessor, so that hierarchies of rank weren't built into gatherings in the space. Trump's Golden Ballroom is the architectural repudiation of those egalitarian ideals.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. on WCPT 820.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the midst of World War II, the 200 and 515th Coast Artillery Companies from New Mexico stood resolute against overwhelming odds. Composed largely of Hispanic soldiers, these brave men were stationed in the Philippines, where they faced the brutal onslaught of Japanese forces. Despite their lack of supplies, American and Filipino forces managed to fight the Japanese for 3 months. However, this was not a victory for the American and Filipino forces. As the American army surrendered in Bataan, the U.S. and Filipino prisoners of war were forced into the infamous Bataan Death March. A grueling 65-mile forced trek under the scorching sun, marked by extreme deprivation and harsh treatment. Sadly, 829 men were never able to return home. New Mexico's Veterans of the Baton Death March are honored each spring with the annual White Sands Baton Death March Marathon. People from all around the world join together in the desert at the White Sands to participate in the anniversary of one of the most tragic casualties of World War II. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
We need to speak out about this.
At 773-763-9278.
Hello.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing tonight? I hope that you're happy, healthy, and safe wherever you are listening to this, whether it's live or on one of our podcasts. They're all available at heartlandsignal.com. As are the podcasts for Palatini and Tuesdays with Josie. Our guest co-host, Dan Schaefer, hosts both of those. And we're glad to have him in studio. And we were catching up on our holidays and conversations with family. I was, before the show, I was at one of my sister-in-law's house.
Okay.
And
in the city,
one of my sister's-in-law's house. That's the grammar. But this has been bothering me since years ago when I would tell a story about one of my sisters-in-law and people corrected me on how you say. I have 5 sisters-in-law.
Okay.
So it would be one of my sisters-in-law's house. Someone could diagram that for. I used to love diagramming
Then
sentences.
they do like the once, twice removed
Something,
type thing.
yeah.
It's not really
We were at Sheila's house.
They're family.
We were at family's
They're
house.
family. That's it.
And we did start talking about politics and our concerns and stuff. And in the comfort of like agreeing with each other.
Yeah.
She was like just so outraged at what's happening with kidnapping people in our communities. ICE was out yesterday earning, I assume, overtime, grabbing people and causing all kinds of chaos and just tragedy. Hey, Jim, you're on with me and Dan Schaefer. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Dan. Hi, Patti. The decay of journalism. Just a couple examples. They were going to run a story on 60 Minutes, and they pulled it because it wasn't flattering to anybody who believes in reality or believes their own eyes, because they bought the station. But this decay of it is amazing. Maria Ressa, who won the Nobel Peace Prize for journalism, and she discussed this with Pope Francis about three different occasions. He said, because there's something wrong. He said, they both agreed there's something wrong with information. And Maria Ressa was talking about the internet. She said the trouble with the internet is everybody's looking for a reward. Rewards. But I'm just putting myself in a class of journalism today, going back 50 years, and wonder how they approach it, because there's certain commandments in journalism. First of all, you seek the truth. You don't care where it lies. You just tell the truth as best you can, investigate the truth. But what we're living in now, if the story isn't flattering, especially the Republicans, if it's not flattering, they won't run the story. They won't tell the story. They don't. Did they tell us about this poor? How about this poor guy that died in custody?
Yeah. In Michigan?
No, well, yeah, but wait a minute. He was supposed to be released. He was supposed to be released. Of the 600 people who were supposed to be released, they were never released because some lunatic judge jumped on the further order. This is like checkers, Chinese checkers. One judge puts one thing out, another judge rescinds it, and so on and so forth. And this poor guy died in one of their gulags. But think about it. I stopped counting at 30. 30 died in there. And think of the excruciating death that is. No medical help. No. You're in a cell with 150. No, think of this, Patti and Dan. You're in a cell with 150 people. You've got congestive heart failure, whatever the hell you got, and you can't even put up your hand and say, my God, can you give me at least a decent death? Put me in a hospice situation.
Yeah.
You got to die there with the 150 people staring at you. I mean, this is worse than. I was reading about the prisons in the 1800s, and the Bastille was like the Four Seasons compared to our prisons today. It was like the Four Seasons. I mean, you had a room, a chair, you had a doctor come in, you could have your wife come in, you could have a painting on the wall, and so on and so forth. We're getting crueler and crueler and crueler as the century goes on. But I don't know what to say. I mean, journalism, in my mind, is completely insane when they won't even run a story that's true. They were going to show the gulag in El Salvador, but they pulled it. They deliberately pulled it, and for the benefit of Trump and his insane administration. Did they talk about the money he's stealing? Did they even consider the money? His son. Think of his son. His son has got contracts now with the Pentagon.
Yep.
$600 million. He put a crypto guy. He gave him a pass because he wanted to get a software to do the crypto scheme. That he made $2 billion on that one, and now he's building a $6 billion nuclear power plant wherever it's going to be. God only knows. But I didn't realize they couldn't run a charity, Patty. They couldn't run a charity.
Dan.
They couldn't run a charity. They're going to have nuclear power plants.
Right. No, Jim. I always one of my most memorable lessons, I would say, in college was from my professor of American history, Dr. Kalney, who I would love to have on. Was when the media, the independent media, when you lost that, like when Uncle Walt in Vietnam, when you lost Uncle Walt, you were done at that point. Now, Uncle Walt would be the enemy of the American people because that's how they've been able to manipulate the conversation. But so just reporting the actualities of what's happening is now being demonized. And we I don't trust the labor statistics. I don't trust anything coming out of this administration type thing. But when you lost Uncle Walt, that's what I was told in college in 2008. When you lost Uncle Walt, you lost the country. No, I don't believe that for a moment. The truth of the matter is there's plenty of journalists that are worth their salt and plenty of reporters that are worth their salt. Sure. The problem, but when you've got to poll, think of what they've done to elections, how they've made it an absolute insanity. When they claimed that he won the 2020 election, these Republicans, I thought, believed it. I mean, they believed it like they believe that the sun's going to come up tonight or the sun's going to come up in the morning. They believed it. They believe that nonsense. Yeah. And this is deliberate. This is deliberate to make our elections.
Yeah. It's the corporations that are owning, because it's a difference of ownership between now and the 60s and Vietnam. Correct. They weren't trying to control the narrative the way these billionaires are, obviously evidenced by CBS.
They didn't have this kind of money. They didn't have this kind of money involved.
Roger Ailes and Rupert Murdoch had a vision, and we are living out that fantasy now. I gotta run to take care of some.
Yeah, I know you do. You guys have a great weekend, both of you.
Thanks,
Take
Jim.
care.
You too. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it too. Is Roger Ailes saw the power of television and image, and here we are, and we fell for it too. A lot of people fell for it.
I do love Jim. He and I disagree on certain things, but he's always a friend.
Oh God, I love Jim. Yeah. Like I said, reminds me of my dad. If my dad had been a liberal and a progressive, and that's hard for me too. Is that I can't. I mean, I guess when Jim was talking about this man who sadly died in detainment, one of these overcrowded, without medical help, without any sort of empathy, is that people will say, well, then he shouldn't have been here. He should then if these people hadn't been if they hadn't, like, there's not. I just don't know what kind of Christianity that is, or what kind of I just don't know how to, and that, again, that goes to where then I go into my place of righteousness. So it comes back around, and we have to just observe and go, okay, that's what they're going to do. They're going to be themselves. Right. We have to operate under our own.
We can talk about it off the air, but I started going to a new church, and one of the pastors made a comment about how culture is influencing Christianity, where Christianity should actually be influencing culture. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm like, feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, like that type of thing. But we're not doing that.
No, we're not. Before we take a break, I do want to thank our sponsors. Thank you so much to Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com and maybe put in an order for a bean subscription. They make some of my favorite coffee, and I'm a big fan. I brought Lady B, for those who were mad at me for not bringing her coffee. I brought her the Peru roast, which has the silky oats and the vanilla. I brought that for her yesterday when we stopped by. And you can order something perhaps like the Resist Movement blend. Their medium roast is an equal blend of their Dominican Republic and Arabica beans from Asia, and it's fantastic. It's got hints of like blueberry cobbler, chocolate malt, and a warming spice. So go to pridecoffeeroasters.com. We also want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar and make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. Maybe it's time to get solar panels. I know Dan is very happy with his solar panel decisions.
I love them. Yeah.
He loves his solar panels. So this is a good time to make an appointment to get the ball rolling to see if it will work out for your house or business. Source.solar. Peter Sorellis and Warren Price will be joining me in the next couple weeks to answer all your questions. We also want to thank Kirk Bangstead and everybody at Minocqua Brewing Company. Please subscribe to their newsletter. Maybe become a paid subscriber to their Substack, where I, Ben Cominos, State Senator Chris Taylor, Kirk Bangstead, Amy Thomas, we all write columns every week, and mine will be available coming this Monday. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com, put an order for a progressive brew, maybe some choice wine. Got a lot of great choices there, and some great gear that I think you'll get a laugh out of some of their t-shirts. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. When we come back, we'll be joined by Brandon Comer, managing partner at the private equity firm Alterity. I missed the T. Alterity Capital and co-founder of the National Black Foundation. I love his shirt. You'll see it in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. I mean, you'll see it because you can watch us on Facebook. I'm just saying it's live streaming.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Cloudy tonight with areas of fog and low temperature around 39 degrees. Saturday, areas of fog with a high temperature of 44 degrees. Sunday, chance of rain with a high temperature of 54 degrees. Monday, chance of snow with a high temperature of 26. Tuesday, partly sunny with a high temperature of 29. Wednesday, mainly cloudy with a high temperature of 29. New Year's Day, Thursday, sunny, high of 18. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 45.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Right now, what we definitely have to agree on is that we have to stay connected and we have to fight forward together. My life's work has proven to me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that when we do come together and we fight together to move forward rather than fighting against each other, that we get stuff done. And it sticks and it's lasting.
Richard Chew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
If you're looking to refinance a home after a divorce, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Today, meet Lori, 50, social worker, score 650, income 90 G's a year. Call to refinance her mentally abusive ex-husband off the mortgage and title of their marital home per the divorce decree. Team Hochberg loan officer Anna Webdell helped Lori remove her ex-husband from the mortgage and title of the home, pay off debt totaling over $60,000, which included her attorney's fees, and saved her over $1,000 a month. Let's review. Team Hochberg loan officer Anna Webdell helped Lori remove her mentally abusive ex-husband from the mortgage and deed of the marital home, pay off all her debt, attorney's bills, and saved her over $1,000 a month. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
To this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to encourage everyone, because I think you're going to love this conversation. And I want you to remember you can call and join our conversation or text us anytime, 773-763-9278. Dan Schaefer is guest co-hosting with me. He's the host of Politini and Tuesdays with Josie, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And the reason I want you to be ready to call or text, because you might have a question that comes up. And I know so many of you listen to the conversation and you think of something later. So try to be ready. And maybe I should have prepped folks more, because when we're talking about money, it makes us it gets sort of juices flowing, but also a little bit anxiety. That's how I react. And that's why I'm so glad we have Brandon Comer in studio with us. He's managing partner at the private equity firm Alterity Capital and co-founder of the National Black Bank Foundation. Love your sweatshirt. Hi, Brandon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Patty.
Where'd you grow up, my friend?
I grew up in Gary, Indiana,
okay.
So not too far away.
Oh man, the few years ago there was construction going on, and I would end up in Gary on 65. There was always that construction, and I would just get so turned around and end up in Gary, and it's interesting. How is Gary, Indiana doing these days? I know that it's been challenging over the decades.
It has been challenging, but gratefully, it's experiencing a great turnaround.
It is.
It is.
There's a PBS. I know that there was a PBS episode on the infrastructure investments and all that. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so they have a great new visionary mayor, Eddie Melton, who was a former senator. And while he was in the Senate, he laid some groundbreaking legislation for economic development, infrastructure investment. So some of the things you've seen, the new Hard Rock Casino right off of 8094. We want a convention center that's going to be located right next to the Hard Rock Casino. A new hotel is going right there. You see some investment going out on the lakefront. A lot of people don't realize that Gary has these amazing rolling sand dunes in Miller Beach.
Yes.
So it's one of the best and most pristine beaches that you'll find in the region. So it's a lot. The international airport that's getting more cargo activity. So you're starting to see a lot of the abandoned homes being, torn down, lots assembled for larger development. So a lot of the legwork has been put in, and now you're starting to see the actual vertical development and some of the results of that work.
Have you had a chance to go through? I mean, Gary is transforming.
I love
as
the
well.
Sand dunes.
Oh, Miller Beach is great.
And also, I'm a nerd, and I love the haunted aspects of places, and Gary, Indiana has some really cool haunted places, and so I've been to a few.
Wait, I'm
That's
sorry.
news to me.
This is like a whole other conversation with Dan Schaefer.
But when you talk about abandoned churches and abandoned buildings, there is a lot of haunted place. I like to explore those places, lawfully so. But yes. But it's I don't
love the caveat.
Well, Dan, they're becoming fewer and fewer by the day, so you better enjoy them while you can.
Yeah, and I now growing up in Gary and sort of this the disparity between and all these conversations for decades about how do we bring back, as manufacturing had left, there were talks about having an airport. It was always this sort of stop and start. Mm-hmm. Did that sort of inform you or influence you at all, wanting to get involved in managing money and debt? And
it did, actually. So watching a city that had Black leadership that led to a historic decline. I mean, the city had at one point over 200,000 people, down to 80,000, right? And so when you see that type of decline, that type of disinvestment, I said, I want to be a part of how money works. I want to be a part of how we can use it as a catalyst for growth. And so that's how I ended up in investment banking. Went to a really big shop and then a boutique shop. But one thing I noticed was that we weren't using capital to positively impact the communities that I cared about the most. So in 2008, I reached out and started my own firm, which was a heck of a time to do it, 2008.
Oh, my gosh. Do you remember a company called the Financial Relations Board at all? Ted Pincus was the head of that. Okay. Do you know who Ted Pincus is?
But not yet.
Yeah, that's all good. Anyway, I worked for that company, and and my husband was the VP there, and they eliminated it was corporate communications.
Okay. Right.
So yes, I am deeply I get a panic attack. Just remember, I told you money makes me anxious. So 2008, you started.
I did, and it turned out to be a bit fortuitous because that's when communities needed a firm like mine the most. They had difficulty accessing the capital markets, difficulty getting projects done. And so we were working with a lot of distressed municipalities. It's like when the city of Compton was on the verge of bankruptcy, we led that turnaround. Some HBCUs, Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina, et cetera. And then we added a asset management vertical about 3 years later, grew that to about $1.2 billion under management, exited that business. And then post George Floyd, the corporations are making a lot of big announcements about how they could be impactful to the community. But the results weren't really matching the rhetoric. And so one of the ways they thought they could be impactful was by being impactful to the banks in those communities, right? Because there's a multiplier effect. So if you can have the banks flourishing, then they can push capital out, then it'll help the communities grow. But they weren't doing it in a way that actually impacted the banks. And so a buddy of mine and I said, we need to stand up an intermediary that can actually help these banks optimize this moment in time. And so we started the National Black Bank Foundation. And we started saying, let's pull these banks together. They're small, but if we can pull them together, they can do bigger and more impactful projects. And the Atlanta Hawks was our proof of concept. We took 10 black banks, financed their player development facility, making it the first professional sports facility in the country financed with all black capital.
What? I'm so excited to learn these stories, and because there's so much, again, when it comes to finances, I think a lot of us, it's like background noise until it actually is something like we should pay attention, or, where you can actually use money for good and collaborate, right?
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And, others followed suit. So after that, Major League Soccer, the NFL, we did the Trade Hotel next to Fiserv Forum, Milwaukee Bucks, and the Battery in Atlanta, so on and so forth. And I think Tony Ressler, the owner of the Hawks, said it best. He said, working with this group of black banks, I was able to, get a market rate deal, but also hit my double bottom line because I know what else these mission-oriented banks are doing with their capital. And so then, as if that wasn't enough, we said we need to own one. So my partners and I acquired a bank right outside Salt Lake City, and it was actually the first white-owned bank to be acquired by a group of black investors and turned into a black-owned bank in the history of the United States. And
that's amazing.
And we changed the name to Redemption, so it's Redemption Bank.
That's also amazing.
It's like what you do is so important and necessary, and then you go ahead and make it poetic. Like kind of,
you have to see the poetry and the beauty in it all, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think, like, for me, there are those of us who don't see outside of sort of the prism of our experiences. For me, money was about my parents kind of fighting. I think that do you talk to folks who, like, when it comes to their own independent finances, it's like, I'm lucky if I know how much. I used to not even, I remember getting notices from the bank and be like, I should probably open those.
Like, if you don't open it, it'll just go away, right?
This is what I'm saying. Yeah. I have a vague idea how much I have in the bank, right? As long as I don't go below $500, I know I won't bounce a check.
Yeah. I think that's an unfortunate reality that a lot of people have about money. When in reality, it's a tool. And the question is, what do you want to use that tool for? And, how much can you make it grow? And that's an educational thing. And I was very fortunate that at a young age, my dad, I think when I was around 7, for Christmas, I stopped getting real gifts. And he just asked me, what companies do you really like? What products do you use?
That's amazing.
And I'm 7, right? So I'm like, I love McDonald's, I love Nike, I love Coca-Cola. He said, well, do a little research and tell me if you think those companies are going to be around. Do a lot of kids like them? So I did a little basic market research, which you could do at 7. And I said, yeah, I think McDonald's isn't going to go anywhere. So for Christmas, I got McDonald's stock, I got Coca-Cola stock, and I got Nike stock. Yeah. And he's, and it changed my mentality to an owner's mentality. He's like, you are now an owner of McDonald's. You're an owner of Coca-Cola. And I think that really changed my whole financial trajectory, just on how I viewed money, how I viewed capital, and how I viewed ownership. And so that's something I definitely, impress upon everyone as early as possible. Just start making small investments, right? It's not the amount, it's the mentality, because the amounts are going to grow as you grow. But if you never change your mentality, it doesn't matter how much money you make, you'll never really build wealth.
I started my Roth IRA when I was a sophomore in high school because I learned about compounding interest.
Nice.
And I have been contributing to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my teacher told me, he's like, go to a mall and look who has the longest lines. And that's where you put your money, type thing. And
that's market research.
Now, back in, I'm not going to give my age, but but no, that's exactly it. It's put money away every week, every month, and just it'll grow and it'll dip, but it'll still continue to grow. Are you finding disparity while you're trying to secure loans with individuals who look like me, who are white, or individuals who are of a minority race? Are you finding difficulty doing that in securing those funds?
Yeah, so I think one thing the data continuously points out is there's a disparity in the rates that people receive based on different, whether it's race or socioeconomic conditions, but race in particular. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the reasons that, not just black banks, but minority depository institutions. So it could be any minority, particular community. Those banks were stood up for that very reason, to ensure that those communities could get access to low cost capital, right? If you think about if you were to move 1.5% on an interest rate, which may or may not seem a lot, but if you compound that over 30 years, right, on a $200,000 home, you're talking about the repayment of over $100,000 of extra interest, right? And so that's significant, and that's a direct prohibitor from being able to accumulate more wealth.
Right.
And for one simple credit decision, right, where you could have two people that are equal applicants, but they just check the different box for race. And so those are the types of things that we're still seeing happen. We still see big banks paying fines for doing that. So we know that it still exists. And so that's, I think, one of the important parts of our mission is to ensure that there's access to both capital and opportunity, because we're standing behind not just consumers, but businesses, right? We're trying to help those businesses that may be on the borderline get to a yes. So we're one of the only black banks in the country that has a full SBA program from soup to nuts, just to make sure that we can provide not only the capital, but the tools that they need to be able to be successful.
Unbelievable. Really great work. I'm so excited to meet you. We're talking to Brandon Comer, managing partner at the private equity firm Alterity Capital and co-founder of the National Black Bank Foundation. Dan Schaefer joins us in studio, guest co-hosting today. We have more questions. If you have any questions or thoughts, 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. And we might turn our attention to some issues that are in the news, if that's okay with you, in a moment. Okay. We'll be right back after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Thanks for joining us, Alternative Talk.
Still struggling with gas, bloat, constipation, nausea, or diarrhea? Have you tried eliminating foods but felt no change? It's time to call the tummy whisperer, Renee Barish at Digestive Health Solutions. Renee uses targeted testing to reveal exactly what's happening in your gut. Gut bacteria plays a key role in all your body functions, from cardiovascular regulation to brain function. When the gut is imbalanced, you may experience symptoms that extend beyond the gut, such as anxiety, skin issues, poor sleep, or increased risk for disease. Digestive Health Solution uses advanced testing to identify harmful microbes and evaluate the overall balance of the gut ecosystem. Get insights into your health, digestion, and how your microbiome affects all aspects of your body. Stop suffering. Call Renee now at 847-207-2034 or visit thetummywhisperer.com. That number is 847-207-2034. Let's get you feeling better. The Tummy Whisperer.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us and to continue to drive it home. I'm in studio with two young men who have figured out stuff financially in ways that I wish I had started early. Well, they started as young people. Dan Schaefer, who talked about starting his Roth IRA when he was a freshman in high school, and our friend Brandon Comer, who is the managing partner of the equity firm Alterity Capital and co-founder of the National Black Bank Foundation, started investing in McDonald's, Nike, and what was the third one? Coca-Cola when he was 7 years old. I don't even want to tell you guys I was in my and I think this is important to say that it's never too late. I think that's the biggest part of it. Too late. I got a 401k from an employer, and I would put like a little bit into Roth. I would always be like, I can't afford it right now. Paying off debt, or I'm barely making it. I'm paycheck to paycheck, and I wasn't raised on that. And I didn't necessarily raise. My son's 22. He needs to start.
Yeah.
But it's never too late.
Never too late. Yep. And you got to pay yourself first.
Right.
That's the thing. You pay yourself first, right?
Absolutely.
Because when you get your paycheck, the taxes come out. But then you're like, oh, I can buy this, I can buy that, I can buy that. No, you put the money in the IRA or your 401, whatever. Yeah,
absolutely.
You pay yourself first.
Yep.
Right. And to that, then, there's a lot of things that impact, obviously, our economies, personal and, regional, federal, state, all of, because there's so many different layers. Do you live in Illinois now, or are you still in Indiana?
I do. I'm downtown Chicago, yeah.
So you're very familiar with, like the bureaucracy, the layers of municipalities in the state of Illinois that sort of compound all the other issues that we have, including our city budget. I don't know how much you're following with what's going on with Mayor Johnson's plans for, whether it's corporate tax per head, a lot of different solutions they're trying to come up with. I mean, they're throwing everything, they're trying to do something, right?
They are.
How are you observing this through your lens?
It's a tough situation. I have a lot of respect for public elected officials. A lot of people don't realize the weight or the gravity that goes with those offices. And the city of Chicago is massive. I mean, it's a real budget. It's a lot of solutions. It's a lot of problems that are attempting to be solved. I think some of the solutions may seemingly plug the hole, but they may or may not be in the best interest from a long-term perspective. And I think that's what happens. I think, a lot of different administrations or elected officials have concerns about the next election or what may or may not be politically palatable based on their particular constituency. And that sometimes can skew some of the decisions that are being made and therefore have a potentially negative outcome for the city as a whole.
Yeah, and when you talk about long-term, like short-term solutions to long-term problems, like I always come back to the parking meter deal that Mayor Emanuel made, and it just seems like it came at such a huge cost to the city.
It's interesting, and I do remember that deal. I don't remember the exact financial position the city was in at the time, but having worked with a lot of cities, particularly those who have been distressed. It's difficult to come back years later when someone's in a different fiscal position.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, exactly, right? But when cash flow is the major concern, then sometimes, you do make decisions about long-term assets that'll give you the cash flow you need in order to be able to fight another day, if you will.
Right.
So I do think we should give proper consideration to how big is the current cash flow problem? How big is the need? And then what is and as you're structuring deals utilizing long-term assets, you should definitely give yourself opportunities to either be able to buy those assets back or, over a long term. So I think that's the key is how you structure the deal, right?
Yes.
So even if you need the cash, how do you ensure that if you are in a better fiscal position at some point in the future, you've given yourself some lanes in which you can, bring those assets back in house.
We need you in more rooms.
I think rephrase it just so opportunity. Mm-hmm. How do we create the opportunity in the city and county and state? Private businesses, especially minority-owned businesses. Mm-hmm. How do we create that opportunity for them to thrive and serve the city type thing, Yeah.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of great businesses in the city. I've met some great leaders, and they're looking for both access to capital and access to opportunity. And, it's not about a 10% set aside here. I mean, these are businesses that do an amazing job. They just haven't had the benefit of being able to scale, right? And a lot of these opportunities require that scale. And so when you start thinking about JV, large company, small company partnerships and things that would allow them to have a continuous flow of opportunities, as well as partners that can help them, appreciate all of the things they need to do as they grow and scale so they don't trip up, whether it's from compliance and back office and all the things when you're a mom and pop shop, you don't make the investment in because you're wearing like 6 different hats.
Yeah.
So I think those are some of the, roadblocks or obstacles that could really be, moved out of the way with the right strategic thought around partnerships and how we can scale these businesses.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that want to or have tried or, and succeeded. And then because of the burden of all the obstacles, we weren't able to keep the business going long. I mean, It's just so challenging. Now, to bigger business, what are your thoughts on, this is so weird to even say out loud, the Bears moving to Indiana.
The Bears.
Yeah. It was interesting when the mayor kind of came out with this big splash of like what it was going to be and all the the mock-ups of the how the stadium was going to be, the outdoor space, the common space and stuff like that, and then there was going to be Arlington Heights. Now it looks like Indiana. Do you have any thoughts in regards to this?
I do.
story?
I live downtown. However, I have to say I would not be, actually, I'll just say it. I think the move to Indiana would be fantastic. I'm sorry.
Hey, I feel like we have a Gary, Indiana plant on this conversation.
I wish I could say I was totally objective. However, no, but seriously, I do think that what teams are looking for now, and I'll caveat this because the Bears are a little unique, but what a lot of teams are looking for now isn't just a stadium, right? They're looking for this entertainment district concept. They're looking for continuous engagement, et cetera. And that makes some sites a little less desirable, right? Because they can't necessarily accommodate that. But if you think about what's happening in Gary, Indiana, and which is a part of the Chicago metropolitan area, right?
It is, yeah.
You get there sooner from downtown than you would get to Arlington Heights. So from a commuter standpoint, it's a little easier. You got the toll road. You can get on the South Shore. You have some amazing sites. You have some catalytic projects that are taking place in Gary. And so I think it should be a great contender. They're devout Bears fans over there, despite being across the state line. If you say Colts over there, they'll run you out, right?
Sure.
It's all about the Bears, the Bulls, and it's a toss-up between the Cubbies and the White Sox.
Yeah, probably a little more White Sox, I would think.
Actually, most of we were Cubbies.
You're Cubby fans?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
How does that work? Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Hey, you get tradition and, family influences.
You're talking about sports, which is not my thing.
But, but it would be great. I mean, from an economic standpoint, obviously it would be a major boost and catalyst for that region. And, and I think you just unlock, or actually not unlock, but you just continue to grow an already strong fan base. So I'm excited to see what comes out of the process, and where the Bears home would actually land.
All right.
We'll see.
I mean, for me, if it was between Gary and Arlington Heights, I'd still go Arlington Heights. But that's just, I know.
What would drive that?
Well, I think, look, I grew up, my dad took me to the racetrack a lot. So to your point about like for me, like having that area, they tore that whole thing down, and that's a whole different financial conversation altogether. But before I forget, because I kind of knew when I said it, when we were talking about the parking meters, I said Rahm Emanuel, my apologies. And thank you to everyone who's texting.
Daily.
It was daily. Not only was it daily, but Daily also ended up joining that law firm that made the deal for, and I was going to say that, and then my brain just froze. But yes, it was Mayor Daley. So at any rate, I mean, also Illinois revenue, and I get that it would still be, profitable for Chicago. So they would still call it Chicago Bears because, as you mentioned, Gary is part of the metropolitan Chicago area.
Exactly. And the mayor of Gary came out and said, hey, they can still be the Chicago Bears, no problem.
Yeah, and I mean, you have, to your point earlier about the casinos, the new injection of infrastructure to Gary, Indiana. I mean, it's got a lot going for it.
It does.
And if and with Illinois politicians, again, this comes back to even like the business obstacles for folks. They seem to be throwing up the same things for the Bear Stadium.
What do you mean as far as the roadblocks? Yeah. It's. Again, it's a matter of A, prioritization, and B, it's a matter of capital, right?
Yeah.
And so when you think about stadiums and you think about the revenue that they derive for a municipality, it's not a clean-cut decision as it used to be. A lot of public funds used to really be tossed at stadiums and arenas. And then people started doing the calculus and saying, hey, how much revenue do we actually derive? If you've got 7 or 8 home games, and then maybe you can throw some concerts in there. So based on what we might be paying in debt service, right, from the bonds we'd issue to finance this thing, are we really getting a return on that investment?
Yeah.
And so if you look at it from a pure dollars and cents perspective, which a lot of entities have to just because of the budget constraints they face, it's not an easy yes. Now, the nostalgia and then you say, all the other things that weigh into it, should or may move it, in one direction or the other. But the economics do make it a very tough decision.
Well, he knows what he's talking about. That's Brendan Comer, managing partner at the private equity firm Alterity Capital and co-founder of the National Black Bank Foundation. This has been a fantastic conversation. I hope you come join us again.
Oh, absolutely will.
And I wish you a happy new year. Absolutely. Everyone can go to alterity.capital. That's ALTERITY.capital and learn more about the great work that they do there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Look forward to talking to you again.
This is great.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. And coming up in just a moment, we're going to have Edda Coscioni, the owner of a salon Edda and Center for Beautiful Living. This is a great show tonight. I just want to box this show up and give it as a gift. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Dan Schaefer joins me in studio, guest co-hosting tonight.
Was the night before Christmas when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nick would soon be there. The children were nestled all snug in their bed, but visions of dentures ran through Nick's head. And Mama in her kerchief holding his teeth, wondering how we could ever afford this grief. When out of the kitchen arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what's the matter. We need Dr. Pellick and her total dentistry crew to fix Nick's smile and make him like new. And then in a twinkling I heard the ring, praying Dr. Pellick's office we'd be seen. She got us in and took care of Nick's grin. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. Grateful was Nick for the total dentistry team. And then they exclaimed as he drove off site, share a smile with someone and may your holidays be bright. Total Dentistry, a general dental practice like no other. 847-358-2477 or visit us at totaldentistry.org.
Steel. Check off the wish list with instant savings and free battery offers on select Steel tools. Shop online or in-store. Now that's a steal.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The National Weather Service says downtown Los Angeles has seen its wettest Christmas in 54 years. LA County firefighters rescued more than 100 people on Christmas Day. And Lisa Dwyer reports one mountain town got hit particularly hard by heavy rain and mudslides.
Wrightwood, California residents are cleaning up. Operating on generators, Mountain Hardware is open for business.
Propane is a big popular one, tarps, things like that. Anything weather related, that's what they're coming in for.
Manager Eric Faulkner.
Let's see, we've survived the blizzard of 2023. We survived the fires of 2024 and now the flooding of 2025. So Wrightwood strong.
But even he admits,
as far as just impact on the town as a whole, this is probably the worst I've seen.
Manny Simpson has been a Wrightwood resident for 14 years. Says he's staying put.
Been through it all, and we're still here, so we're not moving.
I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he will meet with President Trump in Florida this weekend on ending the war with Russia, security guarantees for Ukraine among the topics. President Trump says the U.S. will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper in justifying Christmas Day strikes in Nigeria. And in Turkey, a suspected member of the Islamic State group's been captured. Karen Shamas reports he was allegedly planning attacks on New Year's celebrations.
State-run Anadolu Agency reported that Ibrahim Burtakusin was captured in a joint operation by police and the National Intelligence Agency in southeastern Turkey. It's believed the suspect was in contact with many IS sympathizers in Turkey and abroad. Burtakusin was also looking to join ongoing fighting in conflict zones. His arrest came a day after over 100 suspected IS members were detained in raids, according to Istanbul's prosecutor's office. I'm Karen Shamas.
This is AP News. Walter Ratliff takes a look at one part of the music industry.
Streams of new music from a variety of genres were down compared to last year. But one type of music is on the rise: Christian and gospel music. Experts and artists say there are a variety of reasons why religious music is connecting.
How do we keep moving forward? How do we keep getting the message to more and more people?
Singer Lauren Daigle told AP she sees recording contracts with major labels as a chance to spread her message of hope.
And so when I look at Atlantic, that was my very first thing of, oh, okay, this is a much broader spectrum.
Christian music embraces many different genres, and industry professionals say its quality has improved. Christian artists say they hope this isn't just a trend, but a movement. I'm Walter Ratliff.
There are more stories and the latest developments at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Cloudy tonight with areas of fog, a low temperature around 39 degrees. Saturday, areas of fog with a high temperature of 44 degrees. Sunday, chance of rain with a high temperature of 54 degrees. Monday, chance of snow with a high temperature of 26. Tuesday, partly sunny with a high temperature of 29. Wednesday, mainly cloudy with a high temperature of 29. New Year's Day, Thursday, sunny, high of 18. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 45.
Tell me how you're doing, really. Tell me that you missed the bus this morning, your rent's past due, and your stress level has skyrocketed. I'm here for you. To listen, not judge. To connect you to local mental health resources. No matter what you're going through, specialists like me from NAMI Chicago Helpline are here for you. Call or text Helpline to 833-626-4244. That's 833-626-4244.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home on this lovely Friday. And it might be a different time for you because I know folks are listening all around the world, including in Tokyo. Hi, Jim. So good to get a text from you. Appreciate that. Dan Schaefer joins me in studio. He's our guest co-host today and the host of the podcasts Tuesdays with Josie, as well as Palatini is available wherever you listen to your podcast, just like every single show of Driving It Home and all our shows here at WCPT. You can go to heartlandsignal.com or wherever you listen to your podcast. We want to first thank our sponsors. Thank you to Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com and maybe put in a subscription to a single origin bean subscription because they make really great coffee. Sometimes I just dream of how good the coffee. My husband he grinds it at night when we go to bed. So when I wake up, it's ready to go. And sometimes I lay there, I'm like, I can't wait to have that coffee. Right now, I'm enjoying the Resist Movement Blend, which has, again, your single origin beans, including the Dominican Republican beans, as well as the Arabica from Asia beans that give you a wonderful note of blueberry cobbler, chocolate malt, and a warming spice. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com and maybe order a subscription or just a bag and see if you like it. And we also want to thank our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company. Thank you to Kirk Bankstead and your fearless leadership, creating a marketplace for folks who reflect our values. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com and please subscribe to their newsletter. Subscribe to the Substack where a lot of great columnists are doing work. I get to join them every Monday, so thank you so much for your support. I know they do. Ben Cominos is great. He's like you, by the way, Dan. He likes to tussle with folks who
Oh, I love it.
I know.
That's great. Yeah.
He likes to tussle with different opinions.
Yeah.
I'm just like I'll build up to that when I trust. I have to build trust.
New every time you do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you to our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. Maybe it's time to get the ball rolling on getting solar panels on your house or business, and Peter will walk you through the entire process. Again, that's source.solar. Peter Sorellis and Warren Price will be joining me in studio in just a couple weeks to answer all your questions. So stay tuned for that. And now I'm so excited to talk about all the great work that our new friend Edda Coscioni. Am I saying this right, Edda? Coscioni. I practiced it, and I asked her, and then I didn't practice it after she told me. Coscioni.
You have a lot on your mind, Patti.
It's not on my, yeah, let's talk about that. I just realized that I can talk to Edda, because Edda, the beauty flip isn't about necessarily there's so many beauty influencers online, and this is how I look younger, and this is how I cover this up, and things like that. Yeah. Essentially, the work that you do is to flip beauty on its head and how we can heal ourselves.
Yes.
through the kind of work that you do. Hi.
Yeah, definitely. To me, being both a coach and a beauty expert, beauty shines through when people feel empowered. When they are really connected with themselves, there's nothing but beauty shining through.
Boy. I was just telling Dan how I'm working through some stuff right now.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, tell us about yourself. Where'd you grow up, my friend?
I grew up in Colorado.
What?
Yeah.
Have you been, Dan? Have you been to Colorado? The great state of Colorado?
Only the airport.
No, this cannot be your only experience of Colorado.
It's fine. Yeah.
One day.
But I hear it's a desert, which people don't realize.
Parts of it's mountainy too.
But it is. Yeah, but it's beautiful.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you grew up there? You were born there?
I did.
Grew up
I
there?
grew up in a ski town. So,
what are we talking? Steamboat? What are we talking?
Aspen.
Aspen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my whole life, like skiing, teaching skiing, working as a,
oh, wow.
in retail, whatnot. Yeah.
Here's how I sound at a tiny little hill in East Troy, Wisconsin. Get out of the way! Look out! Stop! I don't.
I probably have seen you. Yes,
yeah.
Right, exactly.
There's like a creek at the bottom of them. Like, as long as I
and
don't
you
land.
just hope you stop beforehand.
Yeah, I am. I believe I was asked by the folks running the hill to not do that anymore.
Exactly. Big orange vest. Patty's coming.
Patty's coming. Well, and I can't. Well, so to the work that you do, and you talk about connecting folks to their true selves. I think that, and this is true. Even the last conversation we had with Brandon Comer from the when it comes to managing your personal finances and your relationship with money, there are habits and paths that we sort of develop over our lifetimes that we don't even realize.
Absolutely. I mean, for sure, our own path are habits, but it's also societal pressures. These ways that we are asked to perform in order to just be human. It is a constant drumbeat. And I think, truthfully, it's just getting worse now. It's besides social media, there's just a clamoring that you are not worthy if you do not, have the amount of buying that we're asked to do in order to belong to a certain threshold of, well-being is really out of hand.
It is, and they think that because there's so much profit, obviously, made out of it, and then and then with the compounding element of social media to compete with other people to put something out there, it's a lot. So, what drew you into this kind? I mean, you mentioned that you were in retail and a ski instructor, and in this environment, it's very vibrant. It sounds like environment.
I would say maybe to some degree, growing up. So my family is actually European, so maybe that has some level of which, growing up, I have a very, deep connection to maybe sort of more European lifestyle. And moving to Chicago, love Chicago, amazing place, would never want to leave. But seeing this constant ask of people to buy, do, and have, always, and moving away more and more from what are just sort of the more innate aspects of our human body and who we can become, to think that like an influencer, if you buy my products, you're going to feel a certain way. Yeah. So that was probably the beginning. Then I've been a life coach for about 25 years. So working in particular with many people, but in particular women, and seeing where women are so tripped up by the ask of society. And from a very young age, probably 10, where women feel that they, need to perform.
Yes. Yes. And look, and because I remember the first, and is that in part because of the way we start to be consumed, whether it's the competition with other girls or attention from boys.
All of it.
Yeah. Because I remember like the first time people started commenting on my body, and I was about that age.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
I can remember. Do you remember this one? I think it was like 5th or 6th grade when just normally my body went from 99 to 100 pounds. Terrifying.
Oh my God! I had stretch marks when I was 14. I was inconsolable.
Right. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your body's just doing what your body's doing.
I know. And there wasn't like, we had, the best we had was Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. Like that was...
Did you watch that? I'm sure you didn't read it.
I have, I'm an old soul, so
I love that.
I'm about as I'm also gayer than a $3 bill, so it's fine. But what you were just discussing is my husband talks about this when I like walk out, and I like to like accessorize, like a scarf or a bow tie. I love a bow tie.
Oh, I love that.
But my theory is you need to just feel like you are you.
Yes.
When you walk
100%.
out of your door.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter however anybody else looks at you.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you explain or coach individuals to be like, it doesn't really matter as long as it's you.
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
Type thing.
Exactly. I mean, well, first, I kind of explain what I call the uneven playing field that we're on. A field that is not built for many of us. Matter of fact, most of us. And then the game is to win at all costs. So once you kind of get that game laid out, then you can start help peeling away the call to play the game. And then it really is this place of finding a deeper truth within, calling yourself even when, because all of us do probably have to see where we trip ourselves up, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. But then also, if I had to say, helping people find more their vision, their purpose, maybe deciding to do things that they saw for themselves when they were children and they didn't, now that we're adults,
right?
We don't think that's worthy. So a myriad of ways, but I would say those would be my bigger bullet points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that, sometimes we don't realize we're going through the motions of whatever we end up doing, whether it's a job or a relationship. Yeah. And so I was talking in the last hour about trying to soften, right? I often operate from I'm a very reactionary person.
Hard not to be in this climate.
Well, and that, yes. And with my job, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And with this, but I often come from a place of self-righteousness. And I'm realizing how much of a trap that is to always feel absolutely where I feel like I have to respond to everything, or I'm the expert on this, or my rage has to be the sort of, I have impulse issues.
Oh,
I do.
But I mean, how do I say it? Sometimes something that is so earnest is maybe like those first times you stood up and you took that risk and you said the really like angry thing, and it empowered you and it empowered other people. And then sometimes it becomes the habit.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. It's getting off what I call the uneven playing field is not an easy, it's not a one and done. I will now never be angry again. Ta-da.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No, and I know I will be. It's just noticing a pattern. I'm noticing. I'm 54.
Yeah.
And so I'm noticing some things that have been have had a negative impact because of those actions. Right. You can kind of trace a line for me and so the choices that I made, and sometimes operating. And I'm being very honest where I operate from.
That's very cool. No. How many people? I wish more people were honest.
I mean, I often talk about my previous employer and things that went wrong, and it's taking me a long time to go, what part did I play?
Yeah.
And we don't want to do that sometimes. That's very painful.
Yeah, it is. And truthfully, I think right there, allowing yourself to see what part you played is part of getting off of that crazy treadmill.
Yeah.
The thing that trips us up.
Yeah. It's hard. And it's embarrassing.
Oh, well.
That's the part, right? I mean, because, and this comes back to beauty flip, it's like we're so invested in our identity and what other people think of us.
Oh, my God.
So let's talk about this. How do we separate? Oh, let's take a break here.
Sure.
I got so excited about this part of the conversation.
I have a question.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start. We'll do this. We'll do the identity part and then your question. And if anybody has any questions, please join our conversation, because this does lend itself to what we're going through politically and how we hold on to resentment and rage for situations that are, what do we turn our attention to? How are we reacting?
Yes.
We don't have to react to everything. And I am definitely guilty of that. Our number is 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278 to join the conversation anytime. We'd love to hear from you. Joining us in studio is Edda Coscioni.
Yes.
That's a good nod. She's like, no, that is the name. Why are you asking me? Edda Coscioni, the owner of Salon Edda and the Center for Beautiful Living.
Yes.
She is a certified Reiki Master, which is a Japanese energy healing practice. Should I announce that we're doing a giveaway?
We are doing a giveaway.
We're doing a giveaway. We have to figure out how to do that.
Okay.
Like trivia questions? Do we do caller number?
Right.
Caller number.
I know the person who is completely transformed.
If you are transformed in the last 10 minutes of the conversation, you want more of that. Give us a call if you have questions, though, first. Again, go to salonedda.com. That's salonedda.com or centerforbeautifulliving.com. Dan Schaefer joins me in studio as well, guest co-hosting. We'll take a moment here and come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And hello to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Of course, we're broadcasting here in Chicago on WCPT 820. And you can tune in anywhere in the world in case you can't listen to your radio for a few minutes or you got to go somewhere. You can, put in a Bluetooth and keep listening. Tune in app or live streaming on Facebook. More after this.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Just about every one of you out there listening knows you should probably be getting more exercise than you are. That means at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity movement every week. Even so, there are major health benefits to just walking 15 minutes a day every day. That's according to a new study out of the Vanderbilt University Medical Center. It really does need to be fast walking. At the right speed, you should be able to engage in a conversation, but you should not be able to sing. Experts we talked to said following good walking form, such as standing tall with your shoulders back, swinging your arms, can help prevent backaches, make it easier to breathe, and keep you balanced. Our wellness contributor, Dana Santis, says you can also kick it up a notch with, quote, conscious breathing. That means in through the nose, out through the mouth, over and over. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
The Lowe's Closeout event means the final savings of the season are here. It's your last chance to get deals on seasonal decor, tools, flooring, and so much more. Refresh your home, check off your project list, or simply stock up on the brands you trust. Shop now to grab amazing deals before they're gone. Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 1/7. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula? No. Coffee?
No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See? Doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely. Face tattoo? Absolutely not.
Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or
and Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now. All right, let's hit it. At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Joining me in studio is guest co-host Dan Schaefer. We've been catching up a little bit about our holiday celebrations, and I hope everyone continues to pace themselves because it's a hectic time of the year, which helps having our friend from Beauty Flip. She's the owner of Salon Edda and the Center for Beautiful Living, Edda Coscioni. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Coscioni?
Yes.
3 times
Let me
now
make
you
sure.
said it right. Yeah.
You're doing great.
Okay, excellent. And I'm excited that folks want to join the conversation as well. We are going to give away in the next segment or so 2 personal coaching and Reiki energy healing sessions. So please stay tuned. Learn more about that so that you understand what you're signing up for. And hopefully it's something that puts you on a path where you feel grounded in yourself.
Right.
Right. So let's get to Steve from the Gold Coast who wants to join the conversation. Steve, thanks for calling back. I appreciate it. What's on your mind, my friend?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting conversation because, most of us can identify with this, unlike some things in life. From a young age, we remember, when some, young person was singled out. Oh, my God, look how beautiful she is, or what a good-looking kid he is, which people don't understand then, intimates that to the rest of the kids around that you're not very good-looking, apparently, and that this idea that this is how we define an individual, or that later on in life it's about, the things that we own, how much money we have. It's not enough to have one nice home. We have to have a second one. Why? Because other people like us have a second home. And we have to have another car, or we have to buy designer clothes, or these sorts of things. Because otherwise, how is the world going to know we've done well?
Absolutely.
It's just laughable. And, and you finally come to a point in your life when you say, God, how much money did I waste going to the hot spots, the hot restaurants, and the hot clubs, and buying shirts and clothes and other things, that I didn't need to buy, all because I wanted to be out and about and be in the in scene. And I used to do this in New York, South Beach, and L.A., Las Vegas, and here in Chicago for years. And, I just look back and I say to myself, what in God's name were you thinking? You could have done so much more that was more productive in your life and something giving back to the larger society. And instead, you decided to do this. I mean, did it really matter? But I am heartened to hear that younger people have nieces and nephews who are in their 20s, and I've tried giving my nephew great stuff that just is classic from really great designers because I've outgrown it. I'm too old to wear this stuff. And he doesn't want it. And I'm like, are you kidding? This is like a $3,000 jacket if you went out and bought it today. And he's like, no, I'm like, we don't wear that kind of stuff. We go to like Goodwill.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing to me. Yeah, the young people are doing that's a healthy thing in my view.
Well,
I don't think there's anything wrong with taking it from someone for free.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him to spend money like I did back in the day, but I'm glad that we're moving away from it. And as you alluded to your guest, Europeans are in what's called a post-materialist stage of their development. They're not nearly as preoccupied with this stuff as we are. The big designer brands that are European in origin, they do a ton of their sales here and in Asia and other places. The average European does not aspire to run around in a product, or dress or shoes or whatnot. That's something here that working class people here will forego the important things in life to buy some designer nonsense, whether it's real or a knockoff, so that they can feel like they're competing. And, like I say, we're behind the Europeans. Let's hope that, we can learn something from them.
Yeah, and by the way, Steve, please tell your nephew to, in addition to buying from thrift stores, to also tune into AM radio and give up maybe some of those subscriptions to streaming services. Sure. Thanks, Steve. Have a good evening.
Take care.
Take care. Right? Maybe dial back on some of the. I'm just saying. Encouraging folks to listen to AM radio.
And if you come to my salon, I have books. I don't have magazines for the same reason.
Yeah.
Go get your brain kind of excited again. Listen to talk radio. Listen to people, what they have to say. What you were saying, Dan, about how, you go on to, what is the one podcast, and you'll always have like a really interesting conversation.
Oh, Palatini, or I also call into right-wing radio.
He does. He calls into right-wing. I can't.
I like when people disagree with me, but it's not about fashion. It's about politics.
But it is about a lively conversation, right?
Yeah. So my question is the difference between American fashion, European fashion, and then like how those mend, like how can you mend those? Right? Because it always seems like they're so far ahead of us.
Right.
But
Isn't
then
it
we're
fun?
always, but that's really not true, right?
So I can't speak for all Europeans.
Okay. Just a question.
No, what I would say, the probably two places where I go the most are probably Italy and Iceland.
Okay.
Very different places.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with what their culture is about.
Okay.
Really. I mean, God, living in Italy where, some of the most infamous or famous designers are, to some degree, it's probably like how we feel about something very, very amazing in our backyard, right?
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, you go into any restaurant, any store in Italy, and their care for how they do something is so implicit in everything they do. So whether it's Prada or maybe a no-name designer, to me, I have a very similar experience. So that would be just my thoughts about Italy.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe there's Italians out there who are like, what is she saying?
Well, I think it's where we put our attention and intentions, I guess.
Right. I mean, to me, and so much of Beauty Flip and what I'm teaching, which I would say is probably 25 years of real deep research, is there is a constant competition in America. Starts by the time you're in 5th grade. You are suddenly on a playing field you didn't even know it existed. And you are now trying to figure out how you're going to belong. And in order to belong, if you can win or at least be not one of the losers, right? And this is where then bullying comes in, all the things we do. So to me, the fashion intensity, especially that Steve was speaking to, comes from a drumbeat of making sure you are not losing.
Yes. Oh, that's a good point. We are having a great conversation. I know I'm enjoying it. So I assume I shouldn't assume, but I feel like if I'm enjoying it, I hope that everybody else is as well. We're talking to Edda Coscioni, owner of Salon Edda. See, now I'm getting more confident. I tumble. It's not just you. I mean, I tumble over words occasionally, and especially names. And there's also that pressure of giving people respect of how their names are pronounced.
I love that. I get the job. That's a tough one, right? You probably have some very complicated names.
Sometimes that's why I give people grace more now when they say my name wrong, and I don't hold any grudges because I do it so often. She's the owner of Salon Edda and the Center for Beautiful Living. She's a certified Reiki Master, and we'll talk more about that when we come back because we have a Reiki energy healing sessions available. We're going to give away the $200
it could be
value.
Either. Okay, because I'm also a personal coach, so if someone would rather a personal coaching session or the Reiki healing, either one.
Excellent. Yeah. And for everybody, you can go to centerforbeautiful.living.com or salonedda.com. That's salonedda.com. Dan Schaefer joins me in studio, guest co-hosting. We'll be right back after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 Seattle, Washington, and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're glad you're all here tonight. Thank you.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Cloudy tonight with areas of fog and low temperature around 39 degrees. Saturday, areas of fog with a high temperature of 44 degrees. Sunday, chance of rain with a high temperature of 54 degrees. Monday, chance of snow with a high temperature of 26. Tuesday, partly sunny with a high temperature of 29. Wednesday, mainly cloudy with a high temperature of 29. New Year's Day, Thursday, sunny, high of 18. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 44.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Hi, I'm Diana. As a veteran, I know that for many servicemen and women, the battle doesn't always end when they come home. Because I too struggle with the invisible wounds of service. Thankfully, I found American Humane's Pups for Patriots program, which brought Sam into my life. Before being paired with Sam, I didn't get out of bed for most days. Pups for Patriots and Sam literally changed my life. Now I'm able to go to the store without having a panic attack. I'm finally able to live my life the way I want to live it. Pups for Patriots provides trained service dogs to veterans like me at no cost. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots service dog program. Let's give our veterans a fighting chance.
A message from American Humane.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversity Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
We need to speak out about this.
At 773-763-9278.
Hello.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us for this drive home. Joining me in studio is guest co-host Dan Schaefer. He's the host of Politini and Tuesdays with Josie, available wherever you listen to your podcast. He's also a fill-in host here at WCPT, and I'm sure I'll need you in the next few weeks to take over some of the show so I can take a break, because I think that's another thing we need to talk to our friend, a New Year Beauty Flip guest, Edda Coscioni, who's the owner of Salon Edda and the Center for Beautiful Living. She's Edda is a certified Reiki Master, which is a Japanese energy healing practice. You mentioned earlier, we were talking about sort of the push and pull, the strains that we all are feeling, the stress. And you mentioned an uneven playing field.
Yeah.
And is that, because I don't know if we were talking about that in regards to women or everybody in general.
Everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would say probably more noticeable in someone's life where you feel marginalized. So let's imagine if we went to a football game or a soccer game and it's flat and it's even and both teams can play on a field that is built for basically the same advantages. Now let's take that that field and lift one end so that it is higher up, and imagine that people who are marginalized are playing uphill all the time. And then let's add a couple of rules in there. For example, one of the key rules is that you might get messaging from the people who are playing downhill, who have more, if you will, advantages, might also at any time tell your teammates who are playing against an uphill to tear you down, that they might be able to get a spot higher up on the field. So this field, this game, that is, I think, a constant drumbeat in our life.
And so when you're working with folks for healing and maybe being aware, mindful of this uneven playing field, what are some of the steps that you encourage folks to take to find their grounding?
Well, could we use the example of like what you were saying, how you're starting to notice just yourself with your anger?
Yes.
So we would start with, where do you feel that you are needing to potentially to even need to battle at such a level, right? And then maybe we, do some tending to you. So that's a big part of the salon aspect, is where I even flip the script on beauty and help people see the loving act that any beauty regimen can be, where you actually become back in touch with yourself.
Oh, interesting. And there's cultures that, I mean, because I have indigenous heritage, but not necessarily a connection to the indigenous groups that my mom came from. Yeah. But I do, when I braid my hair, I know that there's a tradition of like sort of where I've been, because this hair is obviously long enough to have been with me for 5 years, like at the end. Yeah. I actually grow my hair out. I harvest my hair for donations.
Yay, good for you, Patti.
But I try to find those things, and I think sometimes we do the best we can. And I think we were talking a little bit as well about anxiety and depression, and sort of the I think the decisions to put a Band-Aid onto something that needs longer term attention.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, like someone who I was coaching, and she really had just an insane work year, and just was really sort of torn to shreds, and just appropriately so, felt anxious and full of depression. It wasn't inappropriate. And when she went, to seek some help, the first thing they offered before they even did any session work with her was medication. They didn't even work with her. And so, God bless her, she chose a different path and is doing much better and tending to herself. But, I do think there's this part where our society asks us to ignore our bodies, ignore our heart, ignore what deeply matters to us so that we can, like the guy Steve was saying, get the second house, get that second car, do the vacations. These things show prestige to our neighbors, to whomever.
Yeah, exactly. We do have another phone call. Ricky is calling from Deerfield. Ricky, you're on with Edda and me and Dan. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys all doing?
We're hanging in there. It's the holidays.
Yeah, girl,
it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, so here's my question. And I can cite an example if you need me to clarify. So, Edda, how do I learn to deal with things that really get under my nerve, and there's not much I can apparently do to impact the reason why they get under my nerve? So I'll give you an example. So I'm going to just name a big box store, for example. I won't say the name, but there's one out there that I just can't go in anymore because when I'm in there, I get so annoyed because people are just not cognizant of their presence. They're blocking the aisle with their carts. They're not paying attention to their kids who are running all over the store and getting in everyone else's way. So, okay, how do I avoid getting annoyed with that? I don't go in that store anymore, okay? It's just common sense for me. But we've got, the political climate in our country now. I personally don't think someone who's got X amount of sexual misconduct trials awaiting him and a guy who dodged the draft 5 times is a patriot. Apparently I can't convince people to see it my way. But it astounds me that those people can't see what I see, but whatever. So how do I, and it really annoys me. How do I just say, give up? Don't pay any attention.
Well, I would say, as you mentioned, 2 very different ways of being deeply annoyed and frustrated, right? I think the one, like you said, choose a different store, or, sometimes it is also, how do I, if it's with maybe going to your second question, are some of these people you're speaking with people who you actually have a deeper relationship? And then so often and just so you know, you were talking earlier, or was this yesterday, Patti, where, people going home to their families, and sometimes these are not easy conversations to have. I will coach people to not get into the rhetoric of the politics, but to get into the values, to talk about the humanity of it all. Because I think if we look at the humanity of it all, I don't think there's that much that's different. And that might be the opener. And then I would say maybe the second thing is maybe actually start with, if this is someone who you care about, why it would matter for you to be able to hear each other and to give each other grace as you're sorting through. Because if we can all remember what is so amazing about America is that we can hear each other's opinions.
Right.
That is what makes this country so powerful.
Absolutely.
Right.
Hey, Ricky, do me a favor. I'm going to clear the lines because we are giving away a healing session, or a coaching session.
So healing or coaching.
Hang up, Ricky, if you want the opportunity to call back and possibly win this session. Okay, hang up, and let me. So we're going to take caller. Hang up, Ricky. You haven't hung up yet. There you go. He hung up. So we are giving away to caller number. Lady B, give me a number, or Edda, give me a number.
7. Did
Lady B has. We don't have 7 lines, so let's go with caller. I'm going to split that in half and say 3.5. Caller number 3. I should have said between 1 and 5. I wasn't clear on that.
At least I didn't say 58.
Yeah, right. 773-763-9278. We are giving away this is really wonderful and so generous of you. I really appreciate it. We're giving away a personal coaching and or Reiki energy healing.
One or the other. We'll do 2
yes.
different ones. Yeah.
2 different ones. So we will give the opportunity to the first winner to choose which one they want. 773-763-9278. Caller number 2 will have the opportunity to have either personal coaching or Reiki energy healing session. I'll run back there and let Lady B know to make the distinction between which one that first winner gets.
Sure.
And then the second winner will have what's left over.
I love that.
And we'll talk a little bit about that more in a moment. And again, I want to thank everybody. We have these great contests at WCPT. This is on our show, but go to the WCPT Heartland Signal page to learn more about our contest because they're only eligible in the Chicagoland area. You have to be 18 or over, one entry per household, one every 30 days. So thank you so much for tuning in. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 and KTNF AM 950. Dan Schaefer and me and Edda Coscioni. We'll be right back after this on WCPT. We're out of Chicago. Thank you for having us.
You know that you can listen to Chicago's Progressive Talk on WCPT AM 820. Stream us live at WCPT820.com and on the TuneIn Radio app. Or you can ask Alexa, Siri, or Google to play WCPT from TuneIn. But now you have another option. We're simulcasting our programming overnights. 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. on WSBC AM 1240 for a clearer reception in and around the city. Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. And now overnights on WSBC 1240 AM, where facts matter.
This is a WCPT moment in labor. In the 1830s in Lowell, Massachusetts, during the rise of the textile industry, factories were hiring large groups of women ranging in ages 18 to 35 to work at their mills. The workdays were 13 hours long and had poor working conditions. By 1834, the textile market was sluggish. In response, the workers' wages were reduced by 12.5%. One of the workers, Julia Wilson, tried to organize the women to get their wages back, only to be terminated abruptly. Wilson signaled the women to strike or turn out. Over 800 women marched and signed a petition saying we will not go back into the mills to work unless our wages are continued. Ultimately, the strike failed, but they learned from their mistake and successfully battled back a rent increase on their boarding houses 2 years later. By January 1845, about a dozen of the Lowell female textile workers came together to form the Lowell Female Labor Reform Association. This would become the first organized union of women workers in American history. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We're working for your rights.
For the longest time, it was hard for me to even get out of the house, much less do a backside 180. It took me a bit to understand what was going on, but eventually I learned I had anxiety. Now I'm getting help for it and feeling so much better. Sure, some days are better than others, but the whole thing about getting out of the house, that's not really an issue anymore.
Mental health care is working to see what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's Progressive Talk from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue driving it home. Guest co-host Dan Schaefer, the host of The Palatini and Tuesdays with Josie, available wherever you listen to your podcast, joins me today, and I'm so thrilled to have him. I really needed, I needed Dan regardless. Today is kind of a heavy day, so it works out very well that we had Brandon Comer in earlier with an enlightening conversation, and now with Edda Coscioni, who's the owner of Salon Edda and the Center for Beautiful Living. Off the air, we were talking a little bit about, not just the uneven playing field that we were talking about before, but also this, I feel like the acceleration of our personal chaos in our lives is, you were mentioning that it's also, this is part of the drive of the powers that be.
I think so.
To cause
right?
the chaos.
I mean, they say when we, like neuroscientists will say, when we are in a fear state, we actually cannot think of possibilities. They will show that when you are afraid, anxious, upset, you lose all ability to think of new ways of doing things, possible answers. So it is a way to ultimately start to kind of call the shots. And
So, I have a question.
Sure.
Because, and my husband, he yells at me all the time. Yells all the time.
With great love in his heart.
React versus respond.
Yeah.
Right? So I say it when I'm reacting.
Yeah.
I tell people I'm reacting right now because you told me something and I'm reacting. I may need a few moments to respond.
I love that.
But is that a thing?
It is, right? Because there are times when we are, I'm going to say, hijacked, when something happens and we have a visceral experience to it. It happens to all of us, right? And our first knee jerk might be to react.
Yeah.
And then when we take a moment, a beat, to either just take a bigger picture look of what it was and or who we want to be. That's, I think, a really important question. Who do I want to be in this conversation or with these people?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I mentioned righteousness earlier, and like I have to have the last word, or I have to be right about something, and here's why. Here's all my facts, and that's so embedded in identity, and also having to be right. I was about to talk about this earlier, and like shame and like worrying about what people think of us, or having that be a driving factor is also debilitating.
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, if you will, part of on the uneven playing field. When we get too focused about what other people are thinking about us, we lose our power. We lose our innate power. We think we might be powerful because we're playing a role, in this case, of someone who might have like a lot of facts and have that last word. But then it becomes just one of the roles that are kind of in there, trying to hash it out, find a place for themselves on the uneven playing field, where your greater truth might be none of that. You don't even know yet, because maybe it's time to discover some new aspects of your journey, right?
Yeah. Well, and there's so many paths for a journey now, right? We are sort of untethered now to the usual 9 to 5, obviously, or what we thought we were starting in the world to do. There's just so many other paths. I mean, as for all the bad things with social media, it's also given people an opportunity to create in ways they never had before.
For sure.
Right.
I think that's very true. I mean, to some degree or another, it's a little bit of the wild, wild west.
Oh, my God, it really is.
Well, the current environment, we have to, it's a wild west. Like, you got to be like, okay, so this may have been okay yesterday, but it's not okay. Like, you got to figure out.
I know.
But it's your
target.
individuality that is what's happening type thing.
I think so. I mean, so one of my, in my podcast, I basically, it's called, the episode is called, I'm Just Going to Tell It Like It Is. I just want you to think for ourselves, the three of us right here in this room. If we literally just tapped into how miraculous our individual bodies are, in any 1 second, we are creating like millions of billions of things. Our body is regenerating all the time. If we just tapped into the divine spirit that is connected to us, that we are a part of, and we started to shed all of these calls to buy, do, have, we could, in a minute, change this world. If we did that and we all started to align towards that, we would start aligning naturally towards each other, and we would stop the infighting, because that's part of the problem, right? The infighting.
Yeah, absolutely. And so to that, and like the work that you do is first aligning with yourself.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that we also get into this trap of anxiety and depression when we think about choices we've made. Right. And I mentioned this earlier about the like, and to not dwell on the mistakes that I know I'm looking at and examining. I'm trying to do it in a sort of removed way. Okay. I can see how this has led me to this moment. And I'm trying to look at it without shame or guilt. And that's hard.
Very hard.
And then look at the future without fear and anxiety.
For sure.
Because you mentioned the fear state.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that is like, I remember the night of the election, it was so hard to fall asleep because I wanted to be ready. I was like, I got to get ready for this, but I didn't know how to get ready, and I certainly didn't know how to get ready for this.
Oh, right. I mean, I don't think any of us could have. No.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I mean, I think in that, if we go back to that whole conversation around depression and anxiety, to some degree, there is a reckoning that each of us need to do. I think there's always an important way of looking at ourselves, of being like, is this the person who I am choosing to become? Especially in an environment that I never pictured myself being in. Never. None of us never could have imagined this. And yet at the same time, think of what an opportunity to rise to potentially things that we have yet to discover in ourselves.
And I think it'd be understanding who you are, but also defending who you are, right?
Say more about that.
Boundaries,
which
I never practice what I preach, but I always tell everybody to have boundaries, but know who you are and defend who you are. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Can I add a third one?
Sure. You're the expert. I'm
no. I love what you're saying, but I would just say that in this world of divisiveness, to not only just defend and know, but to invite the similarities of other people, even if they are across the aisle. I swear to God, I think there are more similarities than there are differences. I think most people really just want the same things.
Oh, sure. I agree with that. When I ran for office, I remember, there was somebody at the door, door knocking, and I knew I was kind of taking my chances on, particularly you could see the types of flags they were waving and things like that.
For sure.
But all the things that they were angry about, LGBTQ plus history being taught in our schools and, abortion, all these things. I said, okay, he told me he had kids. He didn't want his kids learning that. I'm like, okay, let's talk about your kids. And you want them to have access to healthcare and education and be able to someday buy a home. Like those are that's where we were able to have a conversation. Right. Like these other things, I don't, this is kind of done and dusted, this legislation. This isn't something that, where can we go from here?
For sure.
So I agree.
Yeah.
They have to find that common ground.
Yeah.
Hold on. Well, let's remember we did have a winner, and we want to make sure that we leave the opportunity for our next winner. 773-763-9278. That's the number to call for okay. So third. Oh, Deborah! Congratulations, Deborah. So 773-763-9278 for your opportunity to win either the package is either a personal coaching or a Reiki energy healing session. I'll find out from Diane which one she picked in just a moment. From Deborah. Deborah, congratulations. 773-763-9278 is the number to call right now to win the second package. And by the way, so this is our friend Edda Coscioni, who is the owner of Salon Edda and the Center for Beautiful Living. You can go to centerforbeautiful.living.com and learn more about the work that she does, or salonedda.com. That's EDDA. She offers personal coaching, couples coaching, parent-child coaching. We didn't even get a chance to get to a lot of this.
Oh my gosh.
Women and couples retreats. Retreats both inside and outside the city, sometimes even abroad, which sounds like an amazing adventure. Parent-child bonding activities. Let's go back to, we haven't talked about Reiki, which I did once. And it was interesting because I did it with a friend of mine, and it was really good. But I also, so I carry a lot of trauma in my body, going all the way back to childhood.
Don't we all?
Yes. And I kind of got, I didn't feel great. I mean, it really did feel like this journey, like where your mind goes and where your body goes, but I didn't feel great afterwards.
Interesting.
I mean, not great. I mean, like I felt I needed to do it again. I think I should have hydrated better, taken better care of myself, because it does open up a lot of things.
It can.
And I think you need to be consistent with it and do it again.
So my question is, what is the goal of it?
Of Reiki? Right. Oh, gosh. Okay. So in some ways, if you sit in my chair, I think it's always the same goal. Whether I'm doing your hair or a coaching session or Reiki, I really am trying to find this way to kind of bring you back to your wholeness, to who you fully are, not just truly are. Because I think when we say truly, that horrible thing that happened to me in 8th grade, I don't want to be that. But that's part of who we are. So this full aspect of this brilliant human that has wounds and all the things. So my guess is maybe, not knowing how your Reiki session went, but usually when I do one, I wait until I feel there's a completion and I seal things back down in a loving nature. There's ways to just kind of bring loving nature back into the body.
Well, when I say I should have taken better care of myself, I afterwards, and I hadn't read, and she didn't, and maybe she said something, but I also then had a cocktail, and I think that
you might have been a little loopy.
Yeah.
I mean, there are many times where in the sessions, very deep, beautiful energy work happens, and you don't even need a cocktail.
Right. I was like, I'm gonna have a.
You're like, woo!
Well, and we didn't even have a chance to talk about that because we were saying about depression and anxiety, and whether or not, like, if something prescribes something here, you'll feel better with this. I think we also do that to ourselves.
Yeah,
we're like, I'll have a cocktail. I'll have
individualism too. Like it's
right.
Everybody's experience is different.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I would say I would just give myself a whole bunch of chocolate if I...
You're right. It's also good stuff. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. I look forward to having you back. I know an hour goes by faster than you think, doesn't it?
Especially with the two of you.
That's very
This
kind.
has been so much fun.
Right?
I loved it. Yeah.
It's Dan Schaefer, the host of the Palatini. You can catch as well as Tuesdays with Josie available wherever you listen to your podcasts, and he'll be filling in for me soon as well. We also want to thank our friend Brandon Comer, who was with us earlier, the managing partner of the private equity firm Alterity. Yep. Capital and co-founder of the National Black Bank Foundation. And we have really enjoyed our conversation as well with our friend talking about a New Year beauty flip, Edda Coscioni, owner of Salon Edda and the Center for Beautiful Living. And you can go to centerforbeautifullliving.com or salonedda.com. And I hope that we have the opportunity to chat with you again.
I would
soon.
love that. It's been wonderful.
Excellent. Thank you, Lady B. Have a great night. Love you, my friend. And Dan, have a good night. And we will talk to everybody coming up. I'm trying to see thank you to our sponsors, PrideCoffeeRoasters.com, Source.Solar, and ManaquaBrewingCompany.com. Take care, everybody. Be safe. Bye.
If you're drowning in debt, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender, about a fresh start debt consolidation.